There we go. V1, rotate. Smooth the departure out. There we go. What's going on, guys? Flyby Simulations here, and welcome back to another full flight episode on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And yes, it has again been quite a long time since I've returned to YouTube, 19 days, and that was after many promises of actually getting back on YouTube and doing this right and making scheduled content. But you know what? Just one thing that I've realized after doing all of this is to not make any promises that I can't keep. Of course, when you make the promises, you don't really know if you can keep them. So in this case, I kind of know already at this point, I'm not going to make any more promises as to when my content is going to come out. May it be these full flight videos or actual structured, scripted aircraft dissected videos or anything like that, because honestly, at this stage in my life is way too unstructured and sort of complicated. So I don't really know when I have time to film these videos. But whenever I do, I will be back on YouTube and film these videos. So for today's flight, as you guys can probably tell from the title and thumbnail of this video, we're currently situated at Charlie Yankee Charlie, or Calgary International Airport in Canada. And we're going to be doing a short domestic hop again with the A320NX mod, which is the default A320neo mod in the aircraft, which has been modded to bring it to payware level quality almost. And we're going to be taking this aircraft all the way to Vancouver, which is where I go to university. Although I haven't been there for over a year because of the, I'm not going to say the word because this video is going to get demonetized. But yeah, it's because of the current crisis that is happening in the world. So yeah, so I go to university in Vancouver. So it's going to be super exciting to see if I can try to find my university from the air. But yeah, the approach and the arrival into Vancouver should be pretty interesting. Currently, the time in the sim is 9:45 a.m. and we're stipulated to depart at around 10:05. So we have around 20 minutes to get this aircraft all programmed up and ready to go. I decided to opt out of the standard A320 sky blue livery that ships with the livery mega pack. Instead, I'm going with the Canada Goose livery, which is this one right here, because it looks a little funky and I like it. But yeah, it's going to be a super smooth departure, hopefully. Calgary obviously looks very beautiful in the distance. We have some cloud structures. We have the actual downtown Calgary over there, as well as a lot of sort of flat terrain over here. I didn't really know there was this much flat terrain near Calgary. But yeah, it should be a pretty exciting flight nevertheless. There's been a bunch of features added to the aircraft as well, including a printing feature and a fully integrated AOS, or AOC I think it's called. So pretty excited to check all that out. So without further ado, let's jump into the flight deck and start programming this baby up for departure. Alright, so back in the flight deck, as you guys can see, nothing much has changed. Again, haven't flown this aircraft for quite a while. Has been at least 5 to 10 days since I've flown this aircraft. I think it's been more than 10 days since I've flown this aircraft. So, yeah, it's gonna be let's get to know this aircraft again. So, up on the overhead panel, let's go ahead and start the external power, and the batteries can come on. Let's get the overhead integral lighting up as well. Don't really need the dome light during the day. Let's get the emergency exit light armed, and the no smoking light can come on. Nav and logo light can also come on, and we can get the crew supply oxygen up and running as well. Let's go ahead and do the customary turning off of the first officer's displays because Asobo Studio hasn't made that very FPS friendly from what the A320NX developer or the fly-by-wire team has said. Let's brighten up some of these displays as well. Here we go. Let's get this display up and running. And let's get some integral lighting on the pedestal as well here, as well as the captain's ND and PFD displays as well. There we go. The aircraft is doing some self-testing mechanisms in the background. We can take this time to go up to the overhead panel and get the IRS systems to align. So put them all to nav mode. ADIRS is on battery, and we can go to the MCDU, brighten it up as well. And let's start entering all of the information. So this is what I was talking about in terms of the actual ATSU menu and stuff like that. So when we go in here, we have a proper AOC menu where we can actually do weather requests and ATIS requests and stuff like that. And you can get those messages delivered to you. We're going to be taking a look at how to do that. And we can also print those messages. And the actual physical printer within the aircraft, which is back here, this thing, actually works, which is pretty darn exciting. I don't think I've ever seen a working printer in an A320 simulation in any simulator before, may it be P3D or X-Plane 11. So that's very exciting. That's like pushing the frontier, I guess you could say, So for now, let's just go into the init page and start programming the FMC, or the MCDU, I guess they call it in the Airbus. So we're going to be taking this from Charlie Yankee Yankee Charlie and taking it all the way to Charlie Yankee Victor Romeo. There we go. And we don't really have a company route, so return. And the IRS initialization, let's align it on reference and confirm the alignment. Now, I do have the IRS initialization speed set to realistic, so it should take about 7 to 8 minutes for the IRS systems within the aircraft to align. So that's going to give us a little bit of time to get the rest of the aircraft all prepped up and ready to go. So alternate co-route for today is going to be Charlie Yankee Quebec Quebec. Now, I don't know what airport that is. In fact, if you guys are curious, which you guys do sound curious right now, although I have no way to say, that airport happens to be Greater Sudbury Airport in Garson, Ontario, Canada. So if you guys were wondering what Charlie Yankee Quebec Quebec is, that's what it is. The the flight number today is going to be Air Canada 209. So let's enter that in. And the cost index and stuff we can find from our operational flight plan by SimBrief. So that's going to be 18, and the cruising flight level is going to be 360. So a nice round number, 36,000 feet, with an outside air temperature, or a predicted outside air temperature of negative 51 degrees out there. In terms of the fuel, I haven't really fueled up the aircraft, so let's do that right now. Why do we have this set to pounds? Just give me 1 second, I'll set it back to metric units, and I'll come back to you guys in just a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, sorry, apologies for that. I think I was trying to test out the 787 or the 747 previously, and I just had I had to change it to pounds because those aircraft don't have the option to change it between pounds and kilograms. So, changed it back to kilograms. So the fuel we're going to be carrying today is going to be about 6.4 tons. So yeah, that's spot on actually. There we go, 6.479 kilograms. And payload is going to be 17.8 tons. So we're going to need quite a bit more payload here. 56, maybe 57. Yeah, that's a little bit too much. Let's go for 56 instead. 56% load, if I can get it. There we go. And there's all the fueling completed. So let's go ahead and line select the zero fuel weight and the center of gravity values. And that gives us a zero fuel weight of 58.7 tons and a center of gravity value of 15.6. Block fuel, we can just use the fuel planning value, but since we know the fuel, we're just going to go ahead and enter 6.4 or 6.8? 6.4, there we go. Block fuel has been entered, and that gives us a total takeoff weight of 64.9 tons and a landing weight of 2.8 tons, which means we're going to be burning about, how much is that? 4.9 minus 2.8 is 2.1 tons of fuel on our way towards Vancouver. So with that all done, let's start putting in the flight plan information here as well. So Charlie Yankee Yankee Charlie, we're not really taking any specific departure, so no standard instrument departure out of here today, but we are indeed taking runway 17 left for departure. So let's go ahead and enter that in and just insert that. From there we have a direct routing. So from Charlie Yankee Yankee blah blah blah, we have a direct routing all the way to Botag. So let's enter that in here. There we go. And insert. And from Botag we're taking the Quebec 894 airway to Booth. So airways Quebec 894. And let's take that all the way to Booth. Pretty simple to remember. There we go. And from Booth, we just have our arrival procedure into Vancouver. So let's select Vancouver, let's select arrival, and we have arrival into 08 right via the Canuck 5 arrival. So 08 right and the Canuck 5 arrival. Perfect. And we're doing the bubble via. There we go. That's inserted. Let's see if we have any discontinuities or any vectors. We do not seem to. That seems good to go. And now we can take this time to go ahead and start the APU up. So let's go ahead and get the APU master switch up and running. And let's wait for the flap to open here. In the meantime, what we can do is actually check out that printing feature within the aircraft. So let's go into the MCDU menu. Let's go into the ATSU. let's go into the AOC menu and let's do a weather request. So the weather type is going to be a METAR report, and the airport we're going to be doing the METAR report for is Charlie Yankee Yankee Charlie. So let's see if we can send a report. All right, request has been sent, and let's see if we get a message here. It should pop up on the eCam here as well that we have a message. There we go. Flap is open for the APU, so let's go ahead and start that up. There we go. So while we get the weather information, we will... There we go, company message. So we can go here, say company message received, METAR information. There we go. For Charlie Yankee Yankee Charlie, the METAR information suggests that we have a wind of 340 at 3 knots. We have overcast, 15 statute miles of visibility, clouds broken at 23,000 feet. Temperature right now is -6 degrees. Should be pretty cold out there. Altimeter is going to be 29.82. That's all we need at the moment. So we can go ahead and print this. This is what it looks like for those of you who don't know. So if you print the information, it basically prints it out here, which is very convenient. And basically then you can take it and it pops up right here. So you can basically use this information and enter the required information, especially when we're doing the descent information and descent data entry into the performance page. You can use the data right here to be able to enter that information in there. So that's going to be very, very convenient. So let's get rid of that information for now, no longer need it. And we know that the QNH is going to be 29.82. So enter that in. Let's get the flight director up and running on both sides. Let's get constraint on my side, airport on the other side. And the initial climb is going to be 7,000 feet. I've already checked that on the charts, but feel free to check it on the charts for me and reprimand me in the comment section if you guys feel that I got that value wrong. And finally, we can go ahead and enter the performance data. So the transition altitude here, actually that's a good question. Oh yeah, it's 18,000 feet. Of course, it's North America. So 18,000 feet is the transition altitude. We can take flap 2 and uniform Papa 0.0 as the trim value. And flex temperature can be 56 degrees, and that should give us our V speed. So V1 is going to be 127, VR is going to be 128, and V2 is going to be 132. And there is the MCDU programming completed. And we still have around 2 minutes for the IRS systems to get aligned. Is the APU available? Yes, it is. So let's get the APU bleed up and running. That should start supplying some air into the cabin. And we can also get the seatbelt signs up. Now, one thing we can try here is to do some announcements. So I did download the Luke Air tool within the sim so that we can get some passenger announcements and stuff. And since we're Air Canada, we can actually do some of these announcements because it's a supported airline. So let's do a welcome announcement and see how it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, your captain speaking on behalf of the entire crew. It's my pleasure to welcome you on board. Please sit back, relax, enjoy the service, and thanks for having chosen Air Canada. Mesdames, Messieurs, votre commandant. Alors, détendez-vous. Je vous souhaite à tous un très bon vol. Merci.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome aboard Air Canada, with the best airline in North America at the CYYC World Airline Awards. Thanks to you, our customers. Your service director for this flight. We're pleased to have you with us today. We invite you to relax and enjoy this flight. On today's flight, we're pleased to be of service in English and in French. Once again, welcome aboard. Mesdames, Messieurs, encore une fois, bonsoir. Bienvenue à bord de ce vol d'Air Canada et l'humeur transporteur aérien en Amérique du Nord à l'occasion des World Airline Awards de CYYC. Une distinction obtenue grâce à vous, nos clients. Mon nom est Adrien, je suis votre directeur de bord. Nous sommes heureux de vous accueillir ce soir. Je pense que ce vol sera très agréable. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes heureux de vous servir en français et en anglais. Merci.
All right, so I hope that got captured on the video. But yeah, that was a very realistic sounding announcement. I think they pulled that right out of the transcripts or whatever. So that sounded good. Pretty excited about that. So yeah, the IRS systems have finished aligning. How opportune. So I don't know why the chronometer just came alive there. Let's go ahead and reset that. No longer need it. There we go. And let's plan our route. So let's see what our route plan looks like. So from Charlie Yankee Yankee Charlie, we're departing straight out to Botag, then to Simita, Binvo, Booth, continue north, continue west, and then going straight, doing this big-ass loop pattern, and then coming right into runway 08 right at Charlie Yankee Victor Romeo. So I think that's going to be over the ocean, that we're going to be flying over the ocean and then coming back and landing. So pretty good. I have a good understanding of what the arrival procedure looks like. We can also tune in the altimeter setting on the standby altimeter display. There we go, 29.92 is set. And yeah, we're pretty much good to go, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and disconnect the pushback tug. And, sorry, disconnect the jetway here. And also call the pushback tug. So just loading up my trusty little pushback helper tool here. And there we go. Jetway can be disconnected. So you should see it going away here. There we go. And we can also activate the pushback. So pushback tug should start connecting. In the meantime, what we can do is we can get the fuel pumps up and running. For engine start, we can also get the beacon light on. Strobe light can come to auto. And yeah, pretty much good for engine start and pushback. So the tug is now connecting to the aircraft. And let's see what other announcements we can play with here on this announcement software. So we have before takeoff, seatbelt on, blah, blah, blah. We have pilot boarding, welcome, prepare for boarding, blah, blah, blah. Looks good. We'll play a few more sounds as we're departing and some before pushback sounds and stuff. There we go. There's the little push. So we can go ahead and lock the flight deck door. Parking brake off. And we can go ahead and start engine number 2 on the push. Let's also squawk 2000 here. There we go. Let's hear that engine starting up. All right. Alright, so engine number 2 has started up. Let's also go ahead and start up engine number 1. Pushback was beautiful. And do we set the parking brake? No, we didn't. There we go. Parking brake is set. And we can go ahead and listen to this one starting up. Ooh, look at that. Look at those sound effects. Alright, what else do we have here? Everything seems to be good. APU bleed is still up and running, blah blah blah. Let's make sure that we can, what's the taxi route here? So, 17 left is what we're taking. That's going to be a pretty long taxi. So let's get on to Juliet from Golf. So Golf, Juliet, and then all the way to Echo, Bravo, and Delta all the way to 17 left. So it's going to be a pretty long taxi, but it should be fun nevertheless. Alright, number 1 is also available. Let's switch this back to the normal mode. And let's take flap 2. Arm the spoilers and do a flight control check. So flight control check, full up. Full down. All the way to the left. All the way to the right. Rudder all the way to the left. Rudder all the way to the right. There we go. Flight control check completed. Let's switch this back to the engine page. Let's get the taxi light up and running. Let's get the APU bleed off. And let's ding the cabin to tell them we are ready for taxi. And let's get the parking brake off. Let's get the predicted wind shear off on as well. And we'll set the TCAS to TARA as we get closer to the runway. Let's give it a little bit of oomph to get it rolling on the ground. It's hesitating to move at the moment. I don't know what's going on. There we go. Now it's moving. Why is it requiring high levels of thrust? Yeah, it requires around 37% thrust right now to get moving. I don't know what's going on there. Oh well. Let's continue the taxi over to runway 17 left. Alright, left on Juliet here, and then we're trekking all the way back. That's as far as I can tell what we're doing. All the way to runway 17 left. Alright, so as we taxi, we can also do the takeoff config test here. So takeoff config test complete, and takeoff is normal, and we can set auto brake max. And we've done our cabin check as well. Cabin crew seats for takeoff. So, I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of the taxi, and I'll see you guys at runway 17 left. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the Victor taxiway, and we're taking the right over to runway 17 left. Hope you guys enjoyed that little taxi. It was a lot of fun. It was probably the longest taxi I've done in the sim so far. Took us all the way from that gate concourse and had us do 3 left turns. So yeah, we're entering the runway, so let's go ahead and get the runway lights on. And the nose light can go to takeoff, apologies. Strobe light can go to on, wing light can go to on as well. And let's get centered onto the runway before doing anything else. It's the last thing we want is to not be centered on the runway. There we go. We can also take weather radar on, TCAS to TARA, and we're pretty much ready to rock and roll, as they say colloquially. Alright, so let's go ahead and slow ourselves down. We're going to be doing a standing takeoff. Just to do a little final check, everything looks good. Yes, it does. Give the cabin a little chime. There we go. And auto throttle doesn't need to come on in an A320neo. We're all good to go. So, thrust to 50%, symmetric thrust, all the way to flex. There we go. Man flex, SRS, runway, and auto thrust is blue. Airspeed is alive. Let's see what this looks like from the wing real quick. Look at that beauty. Alright, try to keep it on the center line. Little bit of forward pressure on the side stick, 100 knots. Approaching V1 here. There we go, V1, rotate. Smooth the departure out. There we go. Positive rate of climb, gear up. And we have an immediate right turn here, so I'm going to wait till we get climb a little bit more before taking that right turn. There we go. Let's start that right turn. And speed check, flap 1. And we're coming up to that flap 2 speed relatively quickly here as well. This is going to be a very interesting departure. I might take autopilot early. I want to see downtown Calgary as we depart here. There we go. Speed check, flap 2. Let's continue on this path. We're going to start pitching up here a little bit as well. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful departure out of Calgary. Let's get back on track here. Perfect. And let's go ahead and arm autopilot. I don't know why we're accelerating that fast. Let's go to speed. Climb speed. Let's go ahead and take 40-degree flaps. Oh, sorry, 40 nautical miles of range. And yeah, we accelerated very fast in terms of our speed there. I don't really know what was happening. Maybe because we didn't take a standard instrument departure, it's confused. So, oh yeah, we're getting too low terrain warnings. Interesting, alright. Let's go ahead and dial up 36,000 feet and start climbing up. Let's do an open climb up to 36,000 feet here. Maybe that's the only way to fix this issue. But yeah, I think it's because we didn't take standard instrument departure, and that's why it was acting buggy. There we go. Throttle climb is set. 250 knots should be good. And I don't want to continue to decrease my speed. That's what's happening here. Let me try to increase my speed. Oh, no, lever climb seems to good. Throttle climb, there we go. There we go, that seems better. Now we're getting everything back on track. Let's go ahead and disarm the spoilers, no longer need that. We had a little bit of a scare during the ascent, but now everything seems to be good to go. And let's see what we can see out of the window. Look at that, beautiful. What was downtown? Downtown was there. We missed that. Instead, we were trying to fight some technical problems. That's alright. Looks beautiful. Look at the right side. We have a flyover here. We have some terrain spike issues that are going to be fixed in the next world update, which should be coming, I think, this week. And that should be a massive update to Great Britain, as far as I can remember. England. Alright, climbing up 8,500 feet. You guys know how it is. As soon as we get to 10,000 feet, I will be concluding this episode of the full flight. And you guys can see the arrival, descent, and landing into Vancouver in the next episode of the series. So, there we go. We're fast approaching 10,000 feet. There we go, 9,800. There we go, 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and get rid of the landing lights. And the nose light and the runway turnoff lights can come on. Wing light can come off. And, yeah, everything looks good. Wow, look at those mountains in the distance over there. That looks beautiful. I'm pretty sure you guys want to see some of those in the cinematic portion of this full flight. So, with that all said, thank you for watching this episode. Thank you for all your support over the last few days as well as months. I hope to come back more regularly on YouTube, and if that does happen, I'll be very happy. But if it doesn't, I don't want to make any fake promises. But yeah, I'm super excited to see you guys on the other side of this video, so make sure to check out the second episode where we have the full descent, arrival, and landing into Vancouver. And until then, thanks for flying by.